Well, we knew it had to happen eventually. Ohranger and Power Ranger Zeo are asking the real questions. Would you rather be American and experience the heartfelt joy of being reunited with your lost brother? Or would you rather be Japanese and blow up your friends with grenades, all while looking cute in a swimsuit? You really can have it all in episode 12 of Oh Zeo. Oh boy, time to get your flowcharts ready because this is confusing. Last time we started the story arcs-ish that introduced the new giant robot. That continues here. With Ohranger, these are less a singular story split up into multiple episodes than they are a series of individual episodes containing the connecting thread of the rehabilitation of Ohranger Robo. Power Ranger Zeo ties them together with the singular narrative of Tommy finding his brother and the other half of his Arrowhead. Because of that, I'm going to continue prioritizing the Power Rangers episode order. And I say that because while both of these arcs-ish are 4 episodes, they are not quite the same 4 episodes. Power Rangers actually skips over the next Ohranger episode, so we're skipping it for now too. And they incorporate an episode into their arc that isn't connected to the storyline in Ohranger. Now I have 3 Ohranger episodes I need to get back to at some point, I think? I need to remember that. So, yeah. It's complicated, just roll with it. This stuff never happened in Mighty Morphin Zyurangers, did it? Okay, so Tommy has a long-lost brother, David Trueheart, played by Jason David Frank's real brother, Eric. Remember way back in 2021 when I posited the Geki Barai brother angle was removed when converting to Jason and Tommy because it would be a bit of a stretch to do a long-lost brother storyline in modern California? Well, clearly it's not impossible. And while I've been a bit iffy on these episodes' depictions of Native Americans, this element, sadly, rings more realistically with David and Tommy having indigenous backgrounds. The US has a long history of separating Native families, and it wasn't until 1978 that the Indian Child Welfare Act gave exclusive jurisdiction in these cases to tribal governments. See, I did a little bit of research. Now, there's nothing in the episode that states this happened to either Tommy or David, but frankly, it's much more interesting than what they actually talk about. David was adopted by Sam. Tommy was adopted by whoever his parents are. David trolled Tommy with his random disappearing act because they needed to be sure Tommy was really his brother because the Arrowhead can't fall into the hands of evil. And yeah, I don't find that especially compelling reasoning. It's not as if Tommy found the Arrowhead on the ground. He earned it in a quest of his own, and it was given to him by a Native American who may or may not have actually been Sam Trueheart. I'm still not entirely sure of the logistics here. Anyway, Tommy has a brother now, and takes him to the youth center to show him around. Bulk and Skull decide to run a background check on David, a subplot that is almost immediately abandoned in order to pivot to them searching for Rito and Goldar as lost pets. And hey, I'm just glad the show remembers Rito and Goldar exist. But what a weird plot cul-de-sac. It turns out that David is also a martial artist because of course he is. So he and Tommy decide to spar. However, the instant Tommy gets an upper hand over David, David immediately throws a tantrum and storms out. This is so silly. I know that these are teenagers being written for a child audience, so I don't expect them to behave like real teenagers. But David's acting like he's about 8.
Why'd you do that?
What do you mean, why did you do that? You're sparring! He did the thing that you two agreed to do!
But you're better than me.
Ugh, and people thought he was going to be the Gold Ranger? I want to shake him and yell,
"You're just a baby. A selfish baby."
oh yeah, working my latest hyperfixation into the video for barely justifiable reasons. But yeah, David, even Vula thinks you're being a baby, and she's in junior high. In Canada. And we all know you're only doing this to give the story an excuse to separate you from Tommy just long enough to get kidnapped. I mean, stolen.
Cock stole David.
Because King Mondo wants Tommy to give him the Arrowhead. And that's pretty much the rest of the episode. Sam appears to Tommy again via television static to tell him the Arrowhead was used by an ancient tribe to seal evil. The machines create Maceface, a new monster that the Power Rangers can't defeat unless they're able to combine the Z-Omegazord and the Red Battlezord. Unfortunately, they struggle to do that because, and everyone say it with me, the Red Battlezord is based on Aquitar technology and is tied to Tommy's brainwaves, which means that he has to be mentally focused to use it properly, and because of David's kidnapping at the hands of the Machine Empire, Tommy is too emotionally compromised to bring the Zords together. Yeah, that old chestnut again. I'm glad you remember. It's yet another episode where Tommy has to get his head in the game, which is getting very, very tired. Anyway, the Arrowhead has a holographic interface that leads Tommy to the spot above David's location, but the second he can't get in, he decides to just give the Arrowhead to King Mondo, which is a trap, naturally. This episode has almost nothing in common with its Ohranger equivalent, so let me just point out the few comparative points of interest. When Billy is introducing the Rangers to the concept of the Z-Omega Battlezord, his computer display is taken from Ohranger, although they're careful to paint over references to the Japanese name, Buster Ohranger Robo. Not to be confused with Babs Ohranger Robo. No relation. Did a little Gen X humor, doing a little millennial humor. I am in rare form today. The other point of comparison is with the monster. Maceface, known as Baramadillo in Japan, one of Ohranger's better puns, I say, can transform between a bipedal form and a spiked ball form. In Ohranger, that's done with a simple jump cut, but Power Rangers, always the innovators, add in a flashy swirl effect to get the job done. And that's pretty much all the episodes have in common, so let's jump over to see what Ohranger is up to. Ohranger opens by immediately reminding us that the show has entered its silly phase, and I couldn't be happier about that. Like I said, the tiny thread that has been connecting these episodes is the introduction of Red Puncher, the rehabilitation of Ohranger Robo, and the eventual combination of the two. And the show has been reminding us of that by opening with scenes of Ohranger Robo getting back into shape. So it is with this episode, which features the two robots vaulting and playing sports together. It's wonderful. Sadly, the funniest example of this scenario is in the previous episode, the one we had to skip in order to get here. Oh well, one day we'll get there. One day. And yeah, Power Rangers does not use any of this footage because they have no sense of fun. After that introduction, the show gets right into the action with the attack of Baramadillo. The giant robots take balls to the face until Miura finally pipes up to say, hey, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but the giant robots can combine. Type the order into your computer to make Buster Ohranger Robo because Bustin' makes me feel good. Unfortunately, Bustin' does not make them feel good, and no, in this version it's not because Tommy has a SAD. It turns out that Red Puncher is missing a memory chip after Lieutenant Kirino so thoughtlessly caused a mountain to fall on it. So the Ohrangers go visit Miyuki. Hey, Miyuki still exists! I would not have thought she would come up again. Don't get too attached though. She's only here to deliver the exposition that, oh yeah, she does conveniently remember one time she visited her brother's grave and saw a young boy run off with a computer chip. And with that, Miyuki is now allowed to vanish forever into the cornfield. The Ohrangers track the boy, Satoru, to the Takeda Voice Computer Laboratory, sponsored by Hyrule, where he's trying and failing to use the chip to make his Mattel electronic football game talk to him. No, actually, Satoru is the latest Sentai child to have dead parent issues. His father longed for a sophisticated enough memory chip in order to make a miniature computer that can talk to its user. In fact, it was his dying wish. Literally. He's literally on his deathbed and says, I wish I had more memory. Bleh. So naturally, Satoru is not willing to give up the chip, not to Baranoia and not to the Ohrangers. And that results in a big chase sequence where Gordo tries to protect Satoru from the evil machines. They run away from a lot of rear projection, they have a Temple of Doom bridge fight, and they even jump through explosions into a body of water. Now, you might think that being submerged in water would fry Satoru's bootleg Game Boy. But that's because you don't know how computers work. Not only does the water not destroy the computer, it fixes it enough to cause it to finally start talking. It recites the Game Genie cheat code to form Buster Ohranger Robo. Unfortunately, before it can finish, Bakashund comes in and blows the whole thing up. Now, you might think that being blown up would destroy their chances of making Buster Ohranger Robo, but that's because you don't know how computers work. That's because you're an idiot. Everyone knows that when a computer explodes, it projects whatever it was working on, conveniently branding it onto the back of whomever happens to be there. Duh. So Goro has the numbers on his back, which means they don't need the chip to become Buster Ohranger Robo and defeat Baramadillo. And they don't need the chip to promise Satoru that they will make it up to him and help make his dad's dream come true. But they don't, because we never see him again. That's just science. This episode definitely took a turn into the insane. I just thought they were giving Goro a heroic Captain Kirk torn shirt moment. I never expected the twist to be that the code was tattooed on his back. This is ridiculous, but it's a lot more fun than yet another episode of Tommy wandering around the desert looking for his brother and struggling to get his head in the game. And that serves as a perfect note on which to score these episodes. For story, well, I pretty much just said it. Power Rangers is yet another episode of Tommy wandering around the desert looking for his brother and struggling to get his head in the game. As ridiculous as Ohranger is, it continues the story of the changing arsenal by throwing in new twists and connecting those twists to what's already been established. Technically, both shows seem to be trying to do that in their own way, but Ohranger is the only one that's not feeling redundant by this point. Ohranger wins. For characters, I gotta say, Ohranger doesn't have much to work with. Miyuki is back, but doesn't further her character. Satoru's angst is fine. It's functional, but never rises above that and is left dangling and unresolved. The Ohrangers, as usual, simply exist, pushing the plot along but with seemingly no inner lives. Because of that, even though David is a whiny sop and Tommy does nothing but sigh, at least something's happening. Frankly, Bulk and Skull steal the show. As pointless as they are, I love Skull's computer antics.
Do you know what you're doing?
No, actually, I don't know anything about computers.
But the real highlight is seeing they've finally developed a bond with their amnesiac monster servants. Power Rangers wins. Finally, for action, Tommy wanders around the desert again. I mean, come on, Ohranger has robots doing activities. It has a spectacular bridge fight. Need I continue? Ohranger wins, which means that Ohranger wins. We have finally arrived. It's the last episode of the Magic Arrowhead storyline, and thank goodness for that. Not only has it been a thoroughly underwhelming story, its cartoony depiction of Native Americans has left me feeling uncomfortable. At least I know I can depend on Ohranger to not put me in any awkward situations. Now, let's see what their episode is about. A monster chases Juri around while she wears nothing but a swimsuit and forces her to take off her clothes. I didn't ask for this. Ah, the beach episode. It's such a staple of Japanese entertainment that beach episode is a well-known term. It's light, fluffy fun, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and yeah, it's an excuse to get the characters into really scanty outfits for ogling. Here's Momo in a bikini. Even Gordo gets to run around in briefs. Briefly. In this case, though, the episode especially wants to ogle Judy. How dare you besmirch the name of my pure and innocent beach episode? Just because the characters are in swimsuits doesn't mean that the story is less sophisticated than any other. And besides, I only read beach episodes for the articles. No. No. Don't you try that on me. Not when the next episode preview for the Final Swimsuit literally has the narrator do a cheeky little, we get to see Juri's fan service, great action scenes, tee-hee. This episode knows exactly what it's doing, and it wants you to know exactly what it's doing. The Ohrangers head to the beach to relax. Well, except for Miura, because he's old and stuff. After seeing the boy bots in her life get horned up by human women, Hysterier decides that it's all because humans wear clothes. She cooks up a monster, Bara Clothes, who uses a clothes beam to turn their clothes evil, which in turn turns the Ohrangers evil. So it's a good thing that Judy almost never wears clothes in this episode. See, it's just logic. This ends up being another play on the Sentai trope of the girl characters having dress-up episodes, a la Princess May's 7 Metamorphoses. It's light on transformations and it's light on typical logic. It's meant to be fun, and it is. Judy sneaks around the jungle in full Rambo mode, setting traps for her brainwashed companions and fighting them off with knives, grenades, and machine guns. The action set pieces are clever and entertaining. Ultimately, Judy comes up with a plan, facilitated by stealing another woman's clothes while she's in the shower. Bara Clothes hits Judy with the clothes beam and she rips off her dress. "Oh no, if you do that one more time, you'll be naked. You don't want to be naked, do you?" He shoots her with the clothes beam one more time. Judy rips off her swimsuit, but surprise! She put a bikini on underneath. This is literally a striptease for children. Bara Clothes catcalls her by yelling out, "Nice body!" Judy responds by chopping off his antenna with a knife because while not everything is symbolism and sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, this time it's definitely a penis. So what can Brother Can You Spare an Arrowhead possibly do with this, aside from titling itself after a Depression-era ballad? There is not a lot of footage it can use. Just like with Princess May's 7 Metamorphoses, Power Ranger salvages what little footage it can and combines it with another monster to fill time. You might have noticed in my last recap that I said that the Ohrangers combine the robots and defeat Barramadillo. I did not say the Power Rangers combine the robots and defeat Maceface. That's because that episode was a cliffhanger, and that plot is resolved now. After constantly being told to calm his mind, Tommy realizes, oh, I have to calm my mind. They combine the robots and defeat Maceface. Not terribly interesting, but it kills a few minutes. Okay, so when the Machine Empire kidnapped David, they just happened to put him in a Native American cave with Native American cave drawings that spawn an evil Native American monster. Yes, Bara Clothes has been remade into Autochthon, who Billy immediately recognizes as one of the earliest inhabitants of this land. And I can see how Power Rangers could take the design of Bara Clothes, which is adorned with long tassel-like thread, and decide it looks Native American enough to pass as what this story claims it is. Autochthon is not made by the Machine Empire, but the Machine Empire sure wants to be his friend.
I don't even know you!
Well, it might be a one-sided friendship, but at least he wants to kill the Power Rangers. Anyway, Tommy rescues David and reveals to him that he's a Power Ranger. David reveals there is yet another layer in this Arrowhead quest. Not only is the Arrowhead split into 2 parts, but in order to activate its full power, it has to be returned to a larger stone. And yeah, sure enough, King Mondo finds a stone that happens to have a perfect arrowhead-shaped hole in it, and puts the arrowhead in. But that's okay because Tommy shows up and pulls it back out. Problem solved. This isn't quite as silly as computers burning numbers into your back, but it's still pretty silly. And all of that brings them to the scant amount of fight footage from the Final Swimsuit that they can actually use. With that, the day is finally saved. David apologizes to Tommy for being what was it again?
A baby. A selfish baby.
Yeah, you tell him, Vula. Tommy assures him it wasn't his fault. Yes it was. Let's score them. It's hard to rate these on narrative merits. Ohranger is a bikini-clad genre parody romp, and Power Rangers is somehow even more of the same bland brother quest it's been pumping out for the last 3 episodes. Ohranger, however, very clearly understands the assignment and is many times more entertaining. Ohranger wins. For characters, this is even tougher. Tommy has had a big role in all of these episodes. Judy has a big role in this episode. But does this really do anything with them? I still don't know who Judy is. Her only episodes so far have been little more than cheesecake. However, I neglected to mention the scene where Bulk and Skull get a psychological evaluation only to discover that their paranoid fear of monsters actually benefits them in a city that is constantly attacked by monsters. That's characterization. Power Rangers wins. Finally, for action... Oh, come on, are you kidding? It's Rambo. I mean, it's Ohranger. Ohranger wins. I am finally out of that Arrowhead storyline. I'll be honest though, these batches of episodes have been incredibly fun to riff on, if nothing else. Oh, by the way, this card, it doesn't have anything written on it. That's just a little bit of movie magic for you. I'm so clever. And I mean, a pocket-sized computer that can talk to you? Like that could ever happen. I'd make some joke about smartphones, but I can't actually get to my phone right now because it's actually the title screen for my teleprompter. You can't see it, but it's right there. It's right below the camera lens. That's also a bit of movie magic for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you can afford to support me on Patreon, I'd really appreciate it. As always, let me know what you thought of these episodes and if you agree with my decisions. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time! Power Ranger Zeo ties them together with a singular narrative of Tommy finding his brother and the other half of his Arrowhead. A monster chases Judy around the beach while wearing I feel like I need to memorize this, don't I?